20 years ago, Grandma Ju from Shanghai found a black baby boy abandoned on the roadside. Despite her family's objections, she raised him as her own grandson and put him through school. 20 years later, when Grandma Ju's own children took her house money and left her with nowhere to go, it was that same black grandson who stepped up to take care of his grandparents. Now all three of them live together in a small apartment the government gave him. The baby boy she once rescued now lovingly cares for the elderly couple in their golden years. The story begins on a morning in August 2000. Grandma Ju Shubao was heading to the market when she heard sounds coming from some bushes, the unmistakable crying of a baby. Following the sound, she discovered a filthy infant wailing in a broken wooden bucket, wrapped only in a tattered little blanket. Next to him was a note with his birth date. The child had cried himself hoarse, and his body was covered with mosquito bites. Grandma Ju's heart broke at the sight. She immediately forgot about her grocery shopping and took the baby straight home. At that moment, she had only one thought. This child needed help.
最重要重视的，一个是提不得，哪能过没想过，就是一定当时这条命救起来。
Under Grandma Ju's tender care, little one's condition gradually improved. But something puzzled her. No matter how much she bathed him, the child always seemed dirty. Never seen a black person before, Grandma Ju simply thought the boy was unusually dark-skinned. In Shanghai, there's an old saying that children will turn white if you just wash them enough. So every day she gave him 3 baths, hoping her efforts would make him a bit lighter. Even after a week of this routine, his skin color remained unchanged, still much darker than other children. This worried Grandma Ju sick, and she feared the child might be ill, so she rushed him to the hospital. The doctor reassured Grandma Ju that there was nothing to fear. The child was perfectly healthy. His darker skin was simply because he was a mixed-race baby, part Chinese and part African. But Grandma Ju didn't understand what mixed race meant and thought there was something wrong with his blood. Only after the doctor patiently explained did she realize the child was born to a Chinese person and a foreigner. Learning this news left Grandma Ju with mixed feelings. She knew that keeping the child would invite gossip from the neighbors, but when she looked into his innocent eyes, she made up her mind to adopt him. However, this decision met fierce opposition from her entire family. She had 3 grown children who had all moved out and started their own families, while only her youngest son still lived with her. This youngest son had been married for 3 years but hadn't had any children yet. When he heard his mother wanted to adopt this child, her youngest son jumped up in anger. He felt his mother was too old to have the energy to raise a child, and this boy would only become a burden to the family. But despite her son's objections, Grandma Ju stood firm in her decision to raise the child, promising she would personally take care of him. Her reasoning was simple and pure. Since the child was born on August 1st, China's Army Day, and 2000 was the year of the dragon, she named him Ju Junlong, with the nickname Baobo, meaning treasure. Grandma Ju registered the child under her youngest son's household, making her son and daughter-in-law the legal parents while she cared for him as the grandmother. The neighbors couldn't understand why the Ju family would adopt a black baby boy. Rumors began to spread, some even claiming maliciously that the child was the secret love child of Ju's daughter-in-law and a black man. Grandma Ju didn't care about the gossip at all. Coincidentally, shortly after adopting little Junlong, her daughter-in-law, who had struggled to conceive, suddenly became pregnant and gave birth to a chubby baby boy. Grandma Ju named her biological grandson Ju Junhu, with the nickname Bai Bai, meaning precious. One dragon, one tiger. Both children became the family's most cherished jewels. Her son and daughter-in-law believed that Junlong had brought them good fortune, and from then on, they treated him as their own flesh and blood. While the new addition brought joy, it also doubled the family's financial pressure. The Ju family's income was already tight, and with more mouths to feed, money became even tighter. To support both little ones, Grandma Ju would rather eat less herself to save money for good food for the children. Eventually, they couldn't even afford formula and had to mix powdered milk with rice cereal to feed them. Time flew by, and both children grew up. Zhenlong began to notice he looked different from his younger brother. To prevent him from overthinking, all the adults agreed to tell both children they were both found as babies, just in different places, which is why they looked different. Unlike his shy and introverted younger brother, Junlong was mischievous and prone to getting into trouble as a child. Grandma Ju regularly received complaints from neighbors and often had to take Junlong door-to-door to apologize. But as the older brother, Zhenlong was incredibly protective of his sibling. Whenever his little brother was bullied, he would stand up for him without hesitation. The two brothers always had a close relationship. up. Since Junlong had no birth certificate, and the Ju family didn't meet adoption requirements, he had no official household registration. This made school enrollment and medical care major challenges. While Grandma Ju could help with kindergarten-level studies, elementary school was beyond her abilities. As Junlong grew older, and the household registration issue remained unresolved, Grandma Ju became increasingly anxious. How could the child get an education? She had no choice but to visit various government offices, hoping to resolve Junlong's registration problem. After 2006, media outlets began reporting on Grandma Ju's story, attracting widespread attention. When local government officials learned about the situation, they were deeply moved and decided to make an exception. They arranged for Junlong to attend a nearby elementary school first, and worked on resolving his household registration later. However, when Junlong started school, perhaps due to his skin color, his personality gradually became withdrawn. He was reluctant to interact with classmates and didn't enjoy classes, often sneaking out during lessons to sit in the playground or school garden. But when Grandma Ju learned about this, she didn't scold Junlong. Instead, she patiently counseled him, and his teachers showed him tremendous understanding. Gradually, Junlong stopped skipping school. At sports meets, he displayed exceptional athletic talent, winning first place in several events, and his relationships with classmates improved. When he entered middle school, government support increased significantly. Not only were all of Junlong's school fees waived, but he also received quarterly subsidies. Having lived in Shanghai for so long, Junlong behaved just like a local. He spoke Chinese and looked Chinese. In high school, he even scored 142 points on a Chinese language exam, though he struggled with math and English. A foreign teacher named Bird learned about Grandma Ju and Junlong through news reports, and came specifically to tutor Junlong in English. Junlong also helped out at Bird's kindergarten. In May 2014, Junlong finally received his Shanghai household registration and adoption certificate, officially becoming a Chinese citizen. Aside from his skin color, Junlong was no different from other kids born in the 2000s. He enjoyed staying home, playing video games, and reading novels. As a fake foreigner, Junlong's biggest fear was when actual foreigners asked him for directions.
说的那什么语言我听不懂，太快了，好像是英语，似是而非，我压根就我都傻了，你知道吗？我就听到几个单词，最后我弟在我旁边，我弟英文比我好，然后他听懂了。
Whenever this happened, his younger brother would come to his rescue. As Junlong put it, his brother's English was much better than his own. Shortly after Junlong got his household registration, the Ju family's old house was acquired by the government for a new development project. They received 6 apartments as compensation. Grandma Ju kept one for herself, gave to each to her 2 sons, and saved a 1-bedroom apartment specifically for Junlong. However, this distribution plan upset the family members. They felt that no matter how close Junlong was to the family, he was ultimately an outsider with no right to share in the property division. This led to a huge fight between Grandma Ju and her son. They parted on bad terms. Just when it seemed life might settle down, new problems emerged. In 2016, Grandma Ju discovered her apartment had water leaks, making life inconvenient for the elderly couple. They had also long wanted to sell the apartment and buy one closer to Junlong so they could see their grandson more often after selling. The house, Grandma Ju received $350,000 from the sale. Due to her advanced age and the inconvenience of managing finances, she deposited the money in her daughter's account. But then disaster struck. Just as Grandma Ju had found a house and was ready to make the payment, she discovered only $70,000 remained in her daughter's account. After repeated questioning, she learned that her eldest son and daughter had secretly used $280,000 of her money. When asked what they had done with the money, her eldest son brazenly declared that since this would all be his inheritance anyway, he had simply used it early. Grandma Ju was so angry she trembled all over and nearly fainted. But the money was gone for good. Without a home, the elderly couple planned to move in with their children. But due to the previous property dispute, both sons refused to let them in. Just when the elderly couple had nowhere to go, Junlong learned of their situation and immediately brought his grandparents to live in his small apartment. The 3 of them squeezed into a tiny 50 square meter space to make his grandparents comfortable. Junlong gave them the bedroom while he converted the balcony into his sleeping area with just a bed. Though living together was cramped and sometimes inconvenient, Junlong often joked that as someone born in the 2000s, he now went to bed at 8 p.m. and woke up at 6 a.m., completely lacking any young person's nightlife. But he was perfectly content, because he could live with the people who loved him most in the world. In 2018, Junlong was accepted to Shanghai Jianchao University. Every weekend thereafter, he would return home to spend time with his grandparents. When Grandma Ju first bent down to pick up that baby from the wooden bucket, she probably never imagined how many offices she'd have to visit for his household registration, or how many meals she'd skip to afford his education. She simply followed her instinct of can't bear to see a child suffer, turning a bond with no blood relation into daily companionship. And what about Junlong? He might not understand the complexities of being mixed race, but he remembers how warm the water was for those 3 daily baths Grandma gave him. He might have once felt insecure about his skin color, but he clearly remembers who knelt down and gently said don't be afraid when he was skipping school. So when her biological children turned their backs and walked away, this found child stepped up in the most practical way possible, turning a balcony into a bedroom, dedicating weekends to companionship and living gratitude as just another ordinary day. It turns out that family bonds were never held together by blood alone. Grandma Ju's kindness planted a seed, and Genome's filial devotion made it bloom. Isn't this connection that transcends skin color and blood relations more touching than many other things? What do you think about this family bond that crosses racial lines and blood relations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to give this heartwarming story a thumbs up and follow us to see more kindness and perseverance hidden in everyday life.